Hello. Very good morning and warm welcome, colleagues. My name is Atin and I work with Center for Science and Environment. We are delighted to meet you all today for this wonderful reunion. We are also privileged to have the stalwarts on the dais. Before we get to the discussion and leave the floor to the esteemed speakers, let me try and present a brief context to this celebration. The flagship Swachh Bharat Mission has been a game changer in the context of a new era in solid waste management in independent India. SBM is by far the world's largest sanitation drive ever initiated by any government. The program not only provided direction towards circular economy, but also committed substantial financial assistance to urban local bodies to prepare and implement city solid waste action plan. While the strongest mandate of the program is to reclaim the land from complete remediation of the existing landfill and use the reclaimed land for setting up waste management infrastructure or other economic activities, it provided with all the instrument to divert the fresh waste through maximum treatment and processing to avoid creation of landfills going forward. We leveraged SBM 2.0 and the India-Norway bilateral initiative to reduce marine plastic pollution to build capacities of Indian municipal governments and other stakeholders to improve their ecosystem for solid waste management. Our capacity building modules were designed in alignment with the priorities and key focus in the operational guideline of the mission. Since 2021, the Anil Agarwal Environment Training Institute, CSI's training unit, hosted representatives from 445 municipal governments and 39 civil societies and other organizations to help them equip with advanced knowledge, understanding, skill, and also expose them with the best practices across the country aligned with the visions of waste to wealth and garbage-free city of the Swachh Bharat Mission. CSC also facilitated capacity building to reduce marine plastic pollution with cities in the 9 coastal states by facilitating a coalition. CSE also addressed waste management ecosystem in the Himalayan region of the northeastern states of India. We are delighted to share that CSE's program for solid waste management and circular economy in the global south is now steered through a community of governments of 18 African and 4 Asian nations. We have received excellent support from the Indian High Commissions in all those nations. The community has been exposed to the best practices emerged from Swachh Bharat Mission and Swachh Sarvekshan during their visits to India. CSC team has been able to prepare the ground for implementation of Swachh Sarvekshan assessment system in countries like Tanzania, Ghana, Eswatini, Uganda through intense South-South collaboration. Other countries are also going to start the same initiative. History says capacity building enables right decision making and most efficient use of resources. Today, we are here to celebrate Swachh Bharat Mission, celebrate change, celebrate ideas, celebrate good practices, and yes, change is possible. We'll now see a 2-minute audio visual to relive the time we all spent together at the beautiful Anil Agarwal Environment Training Institute since 2021 and now. Can I have the display, please? Let me now invite the first speaker for the day, uh, Ms. Angela Lusigi, and let me also quickly introduce her before she speaks. Ms. Angela Lusigi joined as the resident representative of UNDP India country office in July 2024. Angela has over 25 years of experience in socioeconomic analysis, inclusive and sustainable national development policies, resource mobilization, and UN coordination. She is particularly passionate about youth empowerment, gender equality, and leadership development. Prior to this appointment, Angela was the UNDP resident representative for Ghana and strategic advisor for UNDP Regional Bureau in Africa in New York. She also served as the regional program advisor to the UNDP UNEP Poverty and Environment Initiative Poverty Program Specialist for UNDP Tanzania, assistant resident representative in Nigeria, and managed several other prestigious international portfolio. Angela holds a PhD in agricultural economics from the University of Reading in UK, a master's degree in agricultural economics from University of Reading, and a bachelor's degree in economics and computer sciences from the University of Waterloo in Canada. Thank you so much.
All my history is out there. Thank you so much for the warm introduction. Good morning, everyone. Namaste. It is such an honor to be here at the Changemakers Conclave, organized by the Center for Science and Environment. And we know this is an institution that's synonymous with leadership in environmental governance and capacity building. And we saw that beautiful video of the wonderful training institute. I extend my sincere appreciation to Ms. Rupa Mishra, Joint Secretary and Mission Director of the Swachh Bharat Mission, Ms. Martine Amdal Botin, the Deputy Head of Mission, Royal Norwegian Embassy, Dr. Balakrishna Pisupati, my colleague from UNEP, who is a country head, and of course, Ms. Sunita Narain, the Director General of CSC, whose vision has made today's gathering possible. And most of all, to all you change makers who are gathered here, representatives of urban local bodies, civil society organizations, and practitioners in this room, you are the backbone of this mission. So this conclave is so important because it gives us an opportunity to celebrate the progress under the Swachh Bharat Mission, which has redefined urban waste management and sanitation in India. Let me begin by congratulating the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for leading this ambitious and successful initiatives. And we all know that the achievements of SBM 2.0 are a testament to what happens when government, local leadership, and civil society join hands. Because waste and sanitation is not just an infrastructural challenge. They're about creating systems that work for people, and systems are only as strong as the people and institutions that are driving them. Now, a program like SBM 2.0 cannot succeed without strong and capable institutions at the local level. So urban local bodies represented here are the frontline implementers, but they also need the right skills, the right tools, and the right institutional support to deliver solutions that are sustainable, inclusive, and scalable. And capacity building is not just about workshops or training. It's about enabling transformation. For example, transforming systems, empowering ULBs to build resilient governance structures, implement data-driven solutions, and mainstream circular economy principles. But it's also about building local leadership, supporting decision makers to adapt innovative approaches, to implement best practices, and inspire action within their cities. But most importantly, it's also about focusing on people. Waste workers, particularly women and informal sector workers, must be integrated into the formal practices and inspire action so that no one is left behind. So CSC's role in capacity building initiatives at the Anil Agarwal Environmental Training Institute exemplify this threefold approach. By training over 445 ULBs and their partners, CSC has created a growing network of empowered leaders who are bringing real change in their communities. Now, from the UNDP perspective, we have had the privilege of working closely with local governments, informal waste workers, and communities across India. And one thing we have learned through this work is that waste management is not just a technical challenge. It is really about people. It is about leadership, and it is about resilience. Cities that succeed in managing waste do so because they empower their institutions and people, whether it's a small town in Maharashtra or a bustling metro like Bangalore. Progress begins when local bodies have the skills, they have the systems, and they have the institutional backing to lead the way. We have seen this firsthand in our work supporting urban local bodies to set up waste recovery systems, create inclusive Swachh Kendras, formalize public-private partnerships, and work with waste pickers to transform their lives while improving waste outcome. So all of us gathered here have a shared commitment. Every city, every ward, and every team in this room has the potential to lead the way. You are not just managing waste, you are shaping a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable future. And at UNDP, we stand beside you as partners. We're ready to support local bodies with technical expertise, innovation, and institutional strengthening. We're ready to support communities with programs that integrate informal workers into the waste system, and also governments with tools, knowledge, and partnerships to scale up action. In closing, I'd like to say that the progress under the Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 reminds us that change is not abstract. It is tangible, it is measurable, and achievable when we work together. I want to congratulate the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, UNEP, CSC, Royal Norwegian Embassy, and all of you here for your relentless commitment and leadership. And to all of you participants present here and possibly online, you're not just implementing waste management programs. You're creating blueprints for sustainable and resilient cities that the world can look to. Let us continue to invest in local bodies, local leadership, strengthen institutions, foster partnerships that drive inclusive, sustainable change. Because in the end, clean and resilient cities are not just about infrastructure. They're about people, they're about dignity, and they're about opportunity. And UNDP remains committed to walk with you on this journey. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your inspiring address. Let me now invite the next speaker to address the change makers and all of us. The next speaker is Ms. Martin Amdal-Botham. She is the Deputy Head of Mission and Minister Counselor at the Royal Norwegian Embassy in New Delhi. Prior to her posting in India, Ms. Botham was Deputy Director in UN Section and Senior Advisor in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Norway. She has also served as the Embassy Secretary to the NATO delegation and as Norway's Deputy Head of Mission in Canberra, Australia. Ms. Botham has a Master's in Law from King's College, London. She is married with 2 children. Thank you so much, Martin. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that very nice introduction. Mrs. Rupa Mishra, Joint Secretary and National Mission Director of Swachh Bharat, Dr. Sunita Narayan, Director General of CSE, Dr. Pisu Pati, Country Head UNEP India, Angela Lucigi, Resident Representative UNDP India. Dear friends in CSE, dear changemakers, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to address this conclave to celebrate the progress of Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0. I applaud the initiative to organize this event as a gathering of those who strive to make a difference, the changemakers. Having lived in India now for more than 3 years, I have witnessed with my own eyes the challenges that India has been facing within waste management. At the same time, I'm also very encouraged by what I have experienced of enthusiasm and collaborative spirit that India brings to working on a problem and finding solutions. To make a change in the world, I believe collaboration is key. That is why Norway is here. We want to build a lasting collaboration with India in shaping a sustainable future. Due to its geographical size and its large population and importance, India has a critical role to play in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and global environmental targets. As a consequence, Norway and India have an excellent collaboration in the areas of blue economy, circular economy, renewables, food security, research, and higher education. More specifically, as already mentioned, through the India-Norway Marine Pollution Initiative, we have been collaborating for the past 5 years within marine and plastic pollution waste management. The Marine Pollution Initiative is well aligned with the Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0, implemented by the Ministry, that mandates scientific solid waste management and encouraged public participation and community involvement in its vision of a garbage-free status. The Center for Science and Environment is one of our trusted partners in this project and this initiative, and one that is tirelessly active on the ground level, ensuring that our collaboration on environmental issues stretches from national level down to the action on the ground across India, involving local government, civil society, and others, and all of you. Capacity building of municipalities on sustainable solid waste management has been an important work of CSE in the project. CSE has brought together around 400 municipalities through new forums, such as a forum for coastal cities for combating marine litter, a forum of northern eastern states for effective solid waste management, a forum of cities that segregate. These forums are platforms to gain knowledge and learn about good waste management practices. Through the project, the CSE has also piloted Agra and Gurugram as model cities on waste management. In Agra, the project has helped strengthen the city's source segregation pilot. The campaign has attained a remarkable 90% waste segregation rate in the pilot wards, and with help from civil society partners, has been scaled up across all 100 wards in the city. The material recovered facility in Agra produces 1 metric ton of compost daily that is used in the city parks. Quite remarkable. The municipal corporation of Gurgaon has done well with transforming waste management practices of bulk waste generators. And I have had the great pleasure of visiting this together with CSE myself. Gurgaon is one of the pioneering cities to launch a MIS portal for bulk waste generators. But management on waste is not only a local problem. Especially in the marine environment, it becomes clear that this challenge requires collaboration across borders to make global change, as we see plastic piling up in our shared oceans. As useful as plastic is to all of us in our daily lives, it becomes clear that this challenge requires, as useful as plastic is, excessive use and ineffective waste management mean it has rapidly become one of the most widespread pollutants on our planet. Most waste management systems are already overwhelmed and will not be able to accommodate the expected growth in production and of plastic waste. This is really a global crisis that requires a global solution. It has therefore been really great to see CSE as an active civil society participant in the Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee on Plastic Pollution. CSC brought out 2 publications this year that explained the country's positions and priorities on the Global Plastic Treaty and pointed out potential impact of these positions. I am sure that many of you in this room shares my disappointment that the negotiations on a new legally binding treaty on plastic failed to produce an outcome a few weeks ago. But the talks will go on, and the Norwegian negotiators tells us that spirit of cooperation still prevails in the talks among the countries, maybe even more now than before. This makes me hopeful that we can arrive at a global agreement on plastic in 2025 at last. I believe such an outcome will strengthen the India-Norway Marine Pollution Initiative even more, give it a basis to extend our collaboration further, and help the work that you are all doing across India to have a lasting impact. In the years ahead, I hope India-Norway collaboration can inspire decision makers at all levels to prioritize local and global sustainability by contributing to impacts that make a change, such as greener cities, a more circular economy in waste management, reduce carbon footprints, strengthen government regulations, and coordination in local communities. I congratulate you all on the contributions that you have made towards a sustainable India so far, and I extend my best wishes to this Changemaker Conclave. Thank you so much. Namaste, Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much. Let me now invite the next keynote speaker, Dr. Balakrishna Prishupati. Dr. Balakrishna Prishupati is currently the Country Director of United Nations Environment Programme in India, focusing on issues of science policy interfaces, policy coherence, environmental governance, and related issues. Dr. Prishupati is an internationally renowned conservation and development specialist with close to 3 decades of experience of working at national, regional, and international levels. He has managed several international portfolios in his professional journey, such as Head of Environment Policy at UNEP, Vice Chancellor, Transdisciplinary University, India, Chief of Biodiversity, Land Law and Governance Program at UNEP, Kenya, Senior Policy Fellow at Fridtjof of Nansen Institute, Norway, Chairman, National Biodiversity Authority, Government of India, and many others. He is an invited fellow in many international institutes of very high repute. Dr. Prishupati has more than 200 research articles and reports to his name. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Namaste. Good morning. Very, very distinguished colleagues on the dais, Ms. Rupa Mishra, Joint Secretary and Mission Director of Swachh Bharat Mission, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, Ms. Martine Botim, the Deputy Head of Mission and Minister Councillor, Royal Norwegian Embassy, Ms. Angela Lusigi, the Resident Representative, my colleague from UNDP India, Dr. Sunita Narayan, Director General of CSC, Kratin Biswas, the Program Director at CSC. Ladies and gentlemen, a great pleasure for me to be here today morning because I was just catching up with Dr. Sunita Narayan after many, many years we are meeting. But I still remember our first meeting, if I'm correct, in 1991, when I was a very young researcher at the Swaminathan Research Foundation along with Dr. Anil Agarwal. So we've known each other for many, many years. So certainly a great inspiration, a great journey for CSC. And I admire and closely follow the work of CSC. So glad that this particular conclave is being organized, and thanks for the invitation to UNEP to be a part of this discussion. In fact, as we were walking up to this stage, I think Dr. Rupa Mishra mentioned that perhaps I think we should be on the other side and all the change makers who are sitting in the room should be on the dais. So it's we who ideate on some of these things, but the implementation or actions that happen on the ground is what is led by you. So certainly you are the most important stakeholders for this particular conclave and for this particular mission. And of course, when we are looking at some of these issues, certainly 2 things come to my mind. The first one is how much of inspirational work that happens in India, which many times doesn't get reported. We do not still optimized our ability to tell the success story of what Government of India, but more importantly, stakeholders like you are doing. And for me, who actually have been working at the global level on a number of policy, science policy, policy development issues, many times the challenge has always been that we speak about these kinds of global frameworks, policies, and negotiate very difficult situations for very important treaties and conventions, whether it is the Rio Conventions, the Biodiversity Convention, climate change, or the ongoing negotiations for plastics. But many times a disconnect at the global level is to actually look at what happens at the local level. So it's just not you think global and act local, but you also actually, India is providing an opportunity to do the reverse. We're thinking in terms of some of these interventions and some of these changes that need to happen at the local level is what being thought by different stakeholders, including Government of India, and where at the global level we need to act based on some of those experiences and some of those lessons that we need to learn. But having said that, one fundamental element, if we want to really make that change happen, to me, is behavioral change. We may have trillions of dollars pumped into the negotiations and finalizing treaties and implementation of treaties, looking at multilateral cooperation, bilateral cooperation, all of it. But if that citizens, if the stakeholders on the ground are not able to relate themselves to what needs to change to make that particular impact happen at the local level, at the household level, at the community level, national, regional, and global, it's definitely going to be a big challenge. So I was just talking to Akshunita Narayan walking in here, is that certainly for the UN Environment Program, as it was mentioned, where we have a big interest to work with you, to learn from you, in terms of a number of actions that are happening. If there is one critical area we would like to sort of look at the future investments in a country like India is, how do we invest in that behavioral change to happen? We speak so much of science, and there is so much happening in policy making, and there is still a bit of, I wouldn't say a disconnect, but there is need for better connect of science informing policy and also assessing how policy impacts science in the way science is being shaped up in many countries, including in India. But certainly that change need to actually happen at all levels, at the level of policymakers, at the level of scientists, at the level of stakeholders, and also at the level of households. And if that change can happen, there is nothing which is going to stop us from being the most sustainable change makers ever that we can dream of. Who can make that change happen? It's the youth of the country that can make the change happen. Because today, a lot of issues that we are facing in terms of waste management, there's no point in looking at a solution when you constantly are also creating a problem. So one of the fundamental stakeholder groups that we all need to work with consciously, not just by default, but by design, is to work with youth in terms of empowering them with the information they need, but also make use of them as the future change makers for impactful results and ensuring that whatever we are trying to do becomes more sustainable. We are very grateful to the partnerships we have had, UNDP, the Royal Norwegian Embassy, CSE, and also the Ministry. So certainly a number of things are going to be forthcoming, but then for UNEP, it's just not that I am representing UNEP here to see what UNEP is trying to bring to India, but more importantly to take the lessons from India for our work both at the regional and global levels. So once again, thanks for the opportunity, and certainly an inspirational conclave, and look forward to the outcomes of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the inspiring address. Let me now invite Madam Rupa Mishra. I mean, she doesn't need any introduction, at least to the colleagues sitting on the other side, but it's just a formality that I'm doing. Srimati Rupa Mishra is a 2004 batch Indian Administrative Service cadre officer with 20 years of experience in administration. She has been associated closely in the working of large national missions for health, water, sanitation at the state and national level. She is currently the National Mission Director of Swachh Bharat Mission Urban. The key mission of the central government has completed 10 years in action and is currently pioneering the work of legacy dump sites, waste to energy, mechanized desludging, and sanitation worker safety, non-sewer sanitation in small cities of India, etc. The mission is acknowledged worldwide as the largest behavior change and advocacy program by any government. Thank you so much for joining us today, ma'am. Please address the Changemakers.
Namaskar. Thanks, Atin. At the outset, I would like to compliment and thank Dr. Sunita Narayan and the entire team of CSC for bringing together at this time of the year such a wonderful Changemakers Conclave. And I say this not because this is a room that is full of change makers, but I was just informed that currently we are being watched live by more than 3,000 people. So the moment it is about Swachh Bharat, touch a button and it is thousands of people who get involved. This itself is the power of Swachh Bharat Mission. So thank you, ma'am, for taking this lead and bringing together thousands on a cold winter morning to discuss about this very important topic of solid waste management and Swachhata. I also compliment, thank and appreciate the dignitaries on the dais and our cherished partners in this program and all the partners who are there in this room who have just increased the strength of this mission from converting it into a government program to a people's program. What it is because of all of you. And I also welcome and thank each and every hard-working change maker from various parts of the country, from various cities, people who are experts in their ground, who have brought value to this decade-year-long journey of the country. Having said this, it is very important that we always remember the beginning of our journey, because that keeps us on our track. And for that, I will quote three important timelines: 2014, 2021, and 2024. 2014, when we started this journey from a clarion call of the Indian Prime Minister for Swachhata, for safety and dignity of women, for our cities and village to be open defecation free. What started from that has now converted into what Atin just introduced as the world's largest behavior change and advocacy program. 2021, when we started the Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 with the Indian Prime Minister giving the vision of the next phase of the mission, which is garbage-free cities. People wondered, how is city going to be garbage-free? Garbage is going to be generated every day. But the vision was, let us scientifically treat our waste in such a manner that we are truly garbage-free. And from there started our journey towards effective waste management and circularity, which not only has its impact on environment and employment, but also revenue generation and all the development that we are seeing around us. And now the third timeline, which is 2024. And this is where I would like to compliment and thank each one of you for holding and sustaining this mission for one entire decade. This is absolutely incredible. Please find out an equivalent mission anywhere in the world which has maintained its tempo, its strength, not only maintained, but has actually gone from strength to strength after 10 years of work on ground. And that is because of the value addition that cities bring, that state governments bring, that partners bring, that development partners bring. And of course, the role of the ministry is to create an enabling environment so that there is space for all of us to work together for a common shared goal and vision. So 10 years, and the PM said, if at all after 100 years, there will be a mission, there will be a government program that will be remembered for its impact, it will be Swachh Bharat Mission. So when this goes in front of the entire world by the Prime Minister of the country, as stakeholders and as citizens of this great nation, we have to be humbled and we have to put our collective effort to reiterate our determination to keep on re-strategizing, to put all the collective work together so that we are actually moving towards what is known as scientific waste management. Friends, together we have traversed a very long journey. 10 years back when we started, and today where we stand, each of you, if you reflect, the changes have been incredible. First, door-to-door waste collection in every ward of every Indian city. Imagine the mountains, imagine the valleys, imagine the slums, imagine the crowded heritage lanes of India. Imagine the seasonality, imagine the cyclone-affected areas. But door-to-door waste collection every day morning, painstakingly by our waste collectors, is something which all of you together have in an incredible manner, be it by your own urban local body machinery, be it by NGO volunteers, be it by SHGs, or be it by professional private organizations who have entered the sector. This is the first pillar that all of you have been effectively able to create in this entire decade. Second, we just heard partners emphasize on advocacy. The beauty of Swachh Bharat Mission of India is it is not architectured, unlike many other government programs, as an infrastructure creation mission. Swachh Bharat is architectured as a public advocacy behavior change program. Since its architecture is so strong in the advocacy element, all other elements plug into this. Therefore, whether you are talking about transfer station, we speak first of segregation. If you are talking of door-to-door collection, we first speak of how our sanitation workers and our waste collectors will approach the people, how resident welfare organizations will put their energies to rally amongst their community for behavior change for source segregation, how bulk waste generators will also join their strength into this, how people will gradually adopt zero waste events, how people will gradually adopt single-use plastic events. And this is today a reality. And I say this with full confidence because the globe's largest human congregation that the world is about to witness is nothing but the Mahakumbh. The Mahakumbh is going to happen in just a few weeks' time. And if you look at Mahakumbh 2025, it is branded as Swachh Mahakumbh and Plastic-Free Mahakumbh. This is India's commitment to what is advocated at the global level. India chooses to show it by action. And action not just in certain stray events of, let's say, having a good program of a zero waste, but action by way of this scale. And I'm extremely proud to share that today our cities have adopted into them. Of course, cities have different capacities. Nonetheless, you go to any city, they are today in a position to discuss with you about reduce, reuse, recycle, about material recovery facility. They can discuss with you about segregation, about the challenges of RDF material, discuss with you about legacy dump sites, etc. This knowledge, this alertness, and this commitment to go through all the cities is not a small thing. This itself is behavior change and advocacy. And as we move forward, I think in the Indian system, India today has a lot of things to offer to the world, as was also emphasized by a few other speakers. First, the Indian approach of solid waste management. It's a beautiful architecture and approach. Of course, I have mentioned that its binding pillar is that of behavior change. But with that, there is another strong USP of the Indian system. And that is, while there is a central vision, there is a flexibility for different solutions. It is technology agnostic, and it propagates a mix of centralized and decentralized solutions, which gives flexibility for all kinds of cities and all kinds of players. So the flexibility and the adaptability of the Indian architecture is what is, I would say, a great strength in the way we are moving. The second thing that India has to offer, I don't think there is any other city, anywhere or any other country that has come up with a standardized tool of assessment of Swachhata. Her understanding of Swachhata in Ambikapur will be same as his understanding of Swachhata in Shillong, which will be the same understanding as Panaji. How did this happen? This was not taught as a toolkit in the class. This is a standardized tool, and by continuous peer learning, advocacy, sharing of best practices, we have come to develop a standardized rule of certifications, which is measuring sanitation, cleanliness, waste management in the same parameters for everyone, while giving flexibility of implementation of approach to all the cities. And this is known as the Garbage Free City Star Rating Protocol, where every year, even in the years of COVID, a third-party agency assesses as to whether an Indian city is 7-star rated or 5-star rated or 3-star rated or 1-star rated. And as all these change makers sit here, they compete with each other to be a star-rated city. And this is not just happening in some remote places, it is happening all across at scale. The third USP of India to offer to the world is speed, scale, and skill with which this mission is going on. Speed, where the mission has extremely bold, ambitious targets within limited period of time. And in the phase 1, we have seen the entire access to toilets, all the cities and all the gram panchayats created a narrative which was history. And this is the second phase of the mission, where all the cities are moving towards establishing some form of a scientific waste management, showing great traction to be achieved by 2020. Scale, where not a single city is left out of the narrative and every city is part of it. I would like to share a very interesting anecdote, which is again rare in history. When SBM 2.0 started in 2021 on 1st of October, the founding document or the premise on which 2.0 started was a tripartite digital memorandum of understanding between the central government, all the state governments, and all the urban local bodies. Nowhere a mission starts from a tripartite understanding where the entire country, 3 layers of government coming together digitally and pledging that we move towards a garbage-free journey to be achieved by 2026. Given this, the skill that is also required is something where partners can bring in a lot of value addition. What started as road sweeping, drain cleaning, tree pruning, mosquito repellent activities today has moved to bio-CNG, legacy dump site remediation, material recovery facility, etc., etc., construction, recycle product. How many states have already started working on the restructuring of the human resources? The role and the job profile of the others has come. And to respond to this requirement, there are many states that have already come in to set up institutional mechanisms like waste management corporations and agencies and cadre reforms, bringing in environment engineers, etc. But there's possibly much more to be done, and all of us collectively will be working on that. The fourth important thing that India has to give to the world is Swachh Sarvekshan, an extremely powerful managerial tool, which is not just a third-party assessment of cleanliness that cities go through every year, but it is also rated managerial tool that nudges positive action towards various activities. There was a time just about 3 years back when not every city knew that there is something known as back lane cleaning. We put in an indicator in Swachh Sarvekshan, everybody starts looking at the back. We put in an indicator of reduce, reuse, recycle centers in Swachh Sarvekshan, and everybody starts thinking, Acha, how can I create a center here where people can start giving their used products so that it can be reused? We start something as Swachh Food Streets, and everybody starts looking, okay, let me identify these 4 food streets this year and plug in Swachhata into it. So this is exactly how Swachh Sarvekshan not just assesses how clean are our Indian cities, but in a very beautiful manner gives you a toolkit and a direction of where and what you need to invest your money, time, effort, and energies on. So these are few of the beautiful things that all 4,900 cities of India have worked together painstakingly for 10 years with the support of expert and committed partners and organizations from all across the country, and we have reached where we are today. And today, this conference brings together, I was looking at this beautiful documentation which all of you will receive in some time, tales from various parts of India. And it gives me immense pleasure as I flip through these pages to see the names ranging from Tripura till Haryana. What more do you want? This is known as traction, this is known as scale, this is known as speed and energy. And this is the strength of Swachh Bharat Mission, one of the oldest programs of the government, which is actually not just a government program right now, but a people's program. So let's commit and move together as we embarked into 2025 for new year and a final run-up to 2026, less than 2 years to reach the milestones that we have set for ourselves. All the very best. Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful program. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, Rupa ma'am, and this is exactly what we were waiting to hear from you. Let me now invite my Director General, Sunita ji. She hates being introduced this way, but it's just a format that we are following, so probably she will bear with us.
That's why I'm standing behind him to say, finish, Atin, finish.
Dr. Sunita Narayan is the Director General at of the Center for Science and Environment. She is our guardian, our leader, our mentor. She is a global environmentalist and writer for 4 decades, with 4 decades of work. Dr. Narayan joined Center for Science and Environment way back in 1982 and has been playing a significant role in building public opinion on environmental challenges, particularly in the global south. She successfully combines science-based evidence with a pro-poor perspective to mainstream environmental concerns in public policy and society. She believes that environment and development are interconnected and sustainable development requires inclusive and equitable growth. Her contributions to building a sustainable environment have been recognized with accolades like the Presidential Padma Shri Award by the Government of India, the Stockholm Water Prize, Prince Albert II of Monaco Foundation Award, Order of the Pole Star, the Edinburgh Medal, and many more. She has authored iconic books like Not in My Backyard, Excreta Matters, Why Should I Be Tolerant, Conflict of Interest, etc. And they are still referred by practitioners across the globe. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Atin. Firstly, thank you, Atin. Thank you, the full team, for putting this together and the work that you do. And thank you, everyone in the room. And thank you, all my co-panelists, for your brilliant, passionate speeches. I think very important to set the way ahead. For me, let me take off from a little bit of what Rupaji said. And I want to put this in context from our context, Rupa. We have in some senses been side by side working on Swachh Bharat Mission since the last decade. In many ways, our own journey started when you started in 2016. We, in this very room, and it's interesting because I was sitting here and thinking of it, we had on the stage Mr. Venkaiah Naidu at that time, who was the Minister for Urban Development. And he was launching our book called Not in My Backyard. And it was an interesting concept because at that time, solid waste and the way India had framed its policies on solid waste was very much as the rest of the world had done, which was that waste was waste and you needed to clean up your cities and for waste to be removed from the cities. And that was the way were formulated. Our report came at a very interesting time when Swachh Bharat Mission had been launched, and we were essentially saying that for a country like India, and that's what you talked about, and that's what I want to really echo what you're saying, the Indian way of doing things, which is for us, affordability and inclusivity is critical for any policy to succeed. And therefore, in the waste story, what came out is the most brilliant thing that was happening in India was not in my backyard. So most of us have never lived with waste in our backyard because it has moved to the backyards of the poor in our country. Whether it is Okla, whether it is Wazirabad, whether it is any other city, the rich and the middle class do not live. But the best thing in India, and I think that's the strength of India, is the empowerment of the poor, where the poor are now saying, not in my backyard. And that has determined a completely different policy from the rest of the world. Because in the rest of the world, when you had huge amount of waste, you shipped it to other countries. But in India, you can't do so because every part of India is inhabited. And so wherever you go and you build a landfill site, somebody stands up there and says, not in my backyard. And the empowerment of the poor, the literacy of the poor, the voice of the poor has forced us to actually reinvent our own waste management strategy. And to me, that's the power of change that has come into the country, where we are seeing we cannot do it the lazy way. We cannot just take our waste, sweep it, take it away and dump it somewhere else. There is no space now to dump. And most of you as city heads know that for you to find a greenfield solid waste site is almost near impossible. You just can't find it anymore. And that's the change which I believe has really been so powerful in the country. But the power has not come just because the poor have spoken. The power has come because policymakers have listened. And I think that's where, Rupa, we need to really, for most of you, and you're part of the same community, and I'm speaking to all of you here, gives me great pride to see this, because policy has to keep evolving. There is nothing called a policy which is written in stone. And policy is best made when it listens, it evolves, it changes, it learns, and it changes further. That's the dynamic nature of policy making. For most of us who've been in this for decades and decades and decades, we know action dies when policy stops getting reformed. Action thrives when we listen, we learn, and we evolve. For me, Swachh Bharat Mission is a place in policy which has learned and continues to evolve. So in 2016, there was a particular ranking that each one of you went through in the cities, which was based on largely visible cleaning. By now, the entire ranking, and I do agree that that tool of ranking is so powerful because it helps to measure what we want to value. What is the direction of policy that we want to go? That's what this tool does. And the tool has evolved. And today the tool values segregation. It values processing of waste. It ranks cities based on how much waste has been reprocessed. It doesn't value cities anymore and saying, you look clean. That's part of the game, but it's not the value. And I think that's what to me excites me enormously. And that's why today, when my colleagues, after years of working with all of you, and it's so wonderful to see you all in the room, all of you who have been part of this journey, that this is a celebration. It's also a celebration because there is no golden rule here. And I think that's what the best thing of what we are doing together is. We are making policy through practice. We are looking at best practice and changing it into policy, which then allows it to get scaled up further. So what you're really doing in this room is that you are practicing the change. But there is, again I will say, there is no, for most of us when we were growing up, we were told, for most people in the administration, you had manuals and codes that you had to follow. There is no manual here that you can actually follow, because in some senses, we are making a practice which is quite unique. We are looking at how you can bring affordability into waste management, which is key, because cities in our part of the world can't afford wasteful practices. We're also looking at how to bring inclusion into waste management. And we're doing it in a way in which we don't add to the pollution and the waste in the neighborhoods of people. So there is no code here. It is not being practiced at this scale of affordability and inclusion anywhere in the world. So what we are doing here is to learn from the practice and then practice it more. And that's where capacity building plays a role. Because the programs that I know that we do at the Anil Agarwal Environment Training Institute are built on learning from the best practices on the ground. Some years ago, we did the report with Niti Aayog, where we put together best practice case studies of cities. Again, the idea not to just sort of put you on a pedestal and say, wonderful. The idea here is to use you as a learning ground. And to do that is where capacity building plays a role, where you actually come together to teach others of why it worked and how it worked. And it's not easy. I keep saying the Achilles heel of waste management is segregation. We are still not getting it right, but the biggest advantage of segregation is that you get value out of the waste that we generate. And that's the reprocessing of waste, whether it is bio-CNG or whether it is material resource centers, the reworking. And that's what is important for a country like India, where we don't have land for waste. How do you justify the use of a landfill where you do not have land even for housing for people? You just can't. And how do you justify throwing waste in India? You have to learn and build the practice, which we've all grown up with. Actually, in many ways, we are the most, I don't know of any Indian household which hasn't been taught not to waste. Okay? But we are losing it. And I think that's what happens with these traditions is we grow up with it, and then as we grow up, and that's where your youth plays a very big role, we grow up with it, we feel, it's modern to be wasteful. I think we have to reconvert those ideas, bring them back into understanding that no, what our grandmothers taught us, that, I have not known any household, I was the eldest, so I had an advantage, but my sisters always wore clothes that were handed down. It was always retrofitted, it was always refurbished. It's all part of the way we went. Okay? I'm refurbished my mother's shawl today to wear a coat. So, it's part of what we do. And I think that's the knowledge that we've had, the practice we've had. And again, let me just end by saying the celebration today is that we are really celebrating the fact that we together have been able to make that change possible. It's the end of a year. It's a very tough year. Next year will be even tougher. Lots of things are happening in the world which are going to tear us apart. But I think what brings us together is the knowledge that we can do things and make a difference on the ground. This is why, Martin, I am not even for a moment worried that we won't get an effect on plastics. I'm not worried at all. Because the change that you're seeing on the ground here is about change which is effective, which is meaningful. It is sustained. And I think that's what we have to celebrate in our world today. Because the global may have different forces against it, but what the message is coming from the ground is, it's possible, we are doing it, and we will continue to do it. So again, thank you so much for being with us. We are absolutely delighted that you've all come. And thank you again for the extraordinary work that you're doing to make a difference in our world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now it's time to release the book that is called Change is Possible, because you all have made it possible. And as practitioners, it was a journey that we have all traveled together. And we learned that so many good works are happening across the nation that can be replicated, that can be scaled up. And there are many more cities in our country who can learn from all of us. So I request all the panelists to release the report and the book, please.
I want the full team here as well, Atin. I'm sorry, I'm not doing this without the team. So the team needs to be here. So, with waste being our thing, we don't stop packing our books now. So you just have to take it out of an envelope with some flourish and pull it out as
Does that mean that I have to put it back in the...
Oh, no, ma'am.
Yeah, please come. Please come, everyone. Please come. Vikas, tell us when you're ready for that. You're ready? Okay.
Wait.
I think you have a collage now.
Move.
Mark, please come.
Congratulations who put it together.
I think all events for all of us. Nancy Shapano as well. We should also be here.
Oh, some people were missing.
Yep.
Come, guys, come. Siddharth, Tribhuvan, Siddharth, please come.
Swachh is fixed. So just to tell you what this book is about, you're all getting. What this book does is to put together, state by state, city by city, what is the work that is happening. So I hope this will be something that you will find useful. We will keep it, it's all coming to you. It's been done overnight by my colleagues, and I really have to thank everybody for putting this together. But I think you will enjoy this. Thank you.
Thank you, esteemed keynote speakers. We'll now take a break for tea, coffee, or a little snacks. I request all of you to come back to this room in about 15 minutes from now. This book will be given to all of you during this break. We'll also share the QR code, and you can download it from our portal and share it with your friends and communities. Thank you. We'll be back here at 12 noon. Please come back here by 12 noon. There's a small announcement, colleagues. Can you please come this side? We'll take a group photo with all the dignitaries before they leave. This side, there's a big lawn where we are going to have lunch here. So you can just delay your tea by about 5 minutes and come this side of the room so that we can click a photo, and that will be with us forever. This side, just open the door and we can come this side. I'll request my colleagues to ask people who are already there at the tea counter maybe to come this side for a quick group photo with the speakers, with the dignitaries. Please everybody, please come this side. Please assemble this side. Please come. Everyone, please come this side. Please assemble there. I don't know better. बस 2 मिनट रुक जाइए, फोटो ले लेते हैं फिर आपको। एक मिनट कम
सब लोग ले लें, उसके बाद आप लोग रूपा जी को जो जितना उनको देर तक रख सकते
जिला परिषद में
మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళే పక్కకి వెళ్ళిపోతారు.
हो गया चार्ज साहब, फिर भी सही चल रहा है। हाँ 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 निमटेक सबका रेडी है। हाँ, okay, thanks. করতে পারো अनिकेत हेल्प कर सकता है मैंने जो पूरा पिछला मेल भेजा क्वेश्चन के साथ उसमें एक क्वेश्चन था लेके लिए था सैलरी वो वाला क्वेश्चन मेल से कॉपी करके मेरे को व्हाट्सएप कर सकता है जल्दबाजी मत कर डाल सकते हैं अच्छा इसको रखना है क्या करने का
पैनल डिस्कशन तो प्रेजेंटेशन है बहुत बुक्स ये नॉट बीच में रखने during the presentation लोग को अवेयर हो जाए
थोड़ा सा एक्सेप्ट कर दीजिए बट वी फिनिश बैम ऑन टाइम हाँ हाँ ठीक है ठीक है सो वी हैव कम अ लॉन्ग वे टू दिस फोटो वीडियो
प्रेजेंटेशन के बाद तो अभी लगा दे, अभी नहीं आया उसमें क्या ही है।
Thank you so much. Please don't call me sir. I should have.
हमारे साथ साउथ अफ्रीका है। आई एम आस्किंग यू टू कम टू साउथ अफ्रीका। End of January. We sent you the date.
कैथी केसर जी को देना वो 2 प्रिंट करने के लिए बाबा मेरे पास है नहीं।
क्या चाहिए? किसको चाहिए? अरे है पर अभी प्रेजेंटेशन है पैनलिस्ट में। अभी प्रेजेंटेशन के बाद ही होगा ना वो। प्रेजेंटेशन में बुलाएंगे तभी। क्या बुक रखा है? कौन सा बुक? अरे हो गया सब कुछ। क्या बुक किया जा रहा है? সতীক যারা বাইরে আছে একটু ভেতরে আসতে বল সবাইকে। कुछ
Colleagues, please come back to the room and take your seats, because today the program schedule is very tight and many of you are traveling in the evening, so you cannot be late. And I also have a small request to all the colleagues. I understand that you may get urgent phone calls, so please keep your phone silent, number one. And if you are having urgent calls which has to be taken, I would appreciate if you could just step outside for a moment, take the call and then come back. Right? So I'll be grateful if all of us can follow this norm inside the room. So welcome back everyone. As you can see on the agenda, we'll now make a very brief presentation on the training, the journey that we have been able to make together since 2021. And we presented the numbers. We have been able to facilitate learning of more than 1,200 colleagues from as many as 36 states and union territories in India. So we literally had colleagues from all the states and all the union territories. And this presentation will be shared by my senior colleague Mo Gupta, who is a program manager in the Center for Science and Environment. Mo, over to you.
So I will this one or that is one? Thank you. Welcome back. On behalf of Center for Science and Environment, I warmly welcome all the change makers who have contributed to transforming their cities through the implementation of SBT. CSE has been privileged to support this journey by enhancing sustainable solid waste management practices across cities. Through our capacity building initiatives and the invaluable knowledge repository of the Anil Agarwal Training Institute, our own AETI, we have aimed to empower individuals and cities to implement these practices more effectively. We take immense pride in being part of this collective effort to drive meaningful change. Thank you for joining us today. As we approach the final phase of the Swachh Bharat Mission, CSE takes pride in having engaged with 445 cities and 1,206 participants across all 36 states and union territories over the past 3 years. This represents nearly 10% of all Indian cities, a testament of our capacity building efforts. This journey has also been enriched by the significant contributions of various organizations, including civil societies, educational and health institutions, railways, entrepreneurs, academicians, etc. Their collective efforts have been instrumental in advancing the mission's objectives. To design effective training programs, we follow 3 main criteria for need assessment. A. Prior need assessment. A structured need assessment form is shared with participants beforehand to understand their requirements. This allows us to tailor the training modules accordingly. Though this approach works best for homogeneous groups where participants are confirmed well in advance. B. Analysis of Swachh Sarvekshan module and results. Over the past 3 years, we have conducted an in-depth analysis of the Swachh Sarvekshan module and its corresponding results. Our findings reveal a notable increase in the weightage assigned to the service level progress. However, the scores in this category clearly indicate a pressing need for improvement. And C. Feedback mechanism. For every training, we implement a robust feedback mechanism, gathering real-time input from participants on the facilitator's knowledge, delivery, responsiveness, and content quality. Participants rate sessions daily, and we collate, analyze, and act on this feedback to continually improve future training programs. These steps ensure our training remains relevant, effective, and participant-driven. As shown, the components under service level progress are critical for cities to achieve better sanitation performances and emerge as champions. A closer look at the pie chart reveals that approximately 47% of the weightage is allocated to the solid waste management value chain, which includes segregation, collection, and transportation, which is 13%, legacy waste remediation, which is 4%, and the major chunk is solid waste management, that is 30%. The parameters in solid waste management essentially includes that we can see in the periphery, what you can see there, the outside, the parameters. To address this, we have integrated these aspects into our training modules, which comprehensively given areas such as waste generation and segregation at source, collection and transportation efficiency, processing and treatment of organic and recyclable waste, dealing with plastic waste and understanding EPR, waste management by the bulk waste generators and other institutions, decentralized approach to solid waste management, safe disposal of residual waste, monitoring and compliance mechanisms, including grievance redressals. By aligning our training with these key components, we aim to equip cities to excel in service level progress and achieve sustained improvements in sanitation. However, in addition to these, we have delved deeper into the waste treatment and processing domain, covering topics like biodegradable waste management, plastic waste and EPR, and solid waste management monitoring. Over the past year, these themes have formed the core of our training, ensuring comprehensive capacity building. When it comes to our training methodologies, we have embraced a blend of classroom-based learning and field-based experiences to make the learning process dynamic and impactful. In the classroom, we incorporate participatory methods such as role plays, group activities, focus group discussions, and visual presentations followed by interactive sessions. To enhance the learning experience, we invite sector specialists from diverse institutions and domains. Beyond the classroom, the curriculum includes exposure visits and campus walkarounds at AITI, showcasing proof of concept projects that we practice firsthand. Participants also get the opportunity to engage with our state-of-the-art laboratory, offering deeper insights into the domain. Each training program features daily evaluations through interactive digital quiz, offering rewards to boost enthusiasm and engagement. Group activities are also incentivized, promoting healthy competition and collaboration. This holistic approach ensures that our trainings are not only informative but also engaging, interactive, and transformative. I'll show some glimpses of this is the group activities going on source segregation. I hope you can remember. How many of you can remember this sort of group activities? Raise your hand, please. I think all. It was engaging, really. This is the visit to the laboratory we have. This is the reward to the group who have won the segregation activity, one of the pictures. And this is campus walk around, our own cafe is showing the organic waste management facility we have in AITI. This is one of the exposure visit in Gurugram. This is in Noida, another exposure visit. Let's move on. CSE has successfully built a coalition of 20 cities across 9 coastal states and UTs in India to combat marine pollution. Through mapping and creating a comprehensive database, CSE has established a baseline for future actions. Advocacy efforts are advancing to mandate marine litter sub-plans for coastal regions. A draft strategy refined through coalition discussions is being finalized. CSC also hosted two national conclaves uniting diverse stakeholders to foster a collaborative approach against marine pollution. There was another coalition. The northeast region of India faces unique waste management challenges due to its distinct geological characteristics, which have hindered regular waste management practices. To address these issues, CSC hosted a consultation workshop with representatives from 26 cities, State Pollution Control Board, and 32 civil society organizations, research institutions, and environmental activists. CSC is also committed to assisting these states in improving their Swachh Sarvekshan rankings. Now, going to global. CSC facilitated a formation of the Global Forum of Cities for Circular Economy, we call it GFCCE, in 2021 to promote South-South collaboration for enhancing sustainable solid waste management in Global South. Currently, GFCCE includes government representatives from 22 countries, including 18 African countries. India's Swachh Sarvekshan, an annual city evaluation introduced in 2016 by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, which we have just heard, has inspired the Global South to adopt similar mechanisms. Drawing from this model, a toolkit for profiling and ranking cities across Africa has been developed, fostering a data-driven approach to policy making and improved solid waste management. You can see the toolkit over here. So just to add on, we are going to roll it out currently in two countries, Tanzania and Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, and we are about to roll it out in another couple of countries, which is Uganda, Zambia, and most probably also in Ghana in future. So this is the during the visit of the global GFCC members in India, and we took them to Pune to see the Swachh model of integration of informal waste pickers by Swachh cooperatives and Pune Municipal Corporation. So talking about CSC's capacity building efforts, how it helped transforming knowledge into practices. So CSC's capacity building efforts have successfully transformed knowledge into practical actions, empowering cities to adopt sustainable waste management practices. We have been listening to this since morning. These initiatives have created significant impact, driving change and innovation in waste management systems. And today we gather to celebrate the inspiring stories to change makers who have been instrumental in this journey of transformation. So these are some areas we have identified that cities could make changes and CSC could play some amount of role in bringing about these changes. And this one is very important to all of us. I shall end my presentation by saying that this is last but certainly not least. We cannot overlook the heart and soul of this journey, the beautiful AITI campus, and the incredible people who work tirelessly day in and day out to ensure every participant feels at home. I'm sure you all agree with this who have experienced your stay in the AITI. From the warm and nourishing meals served in the cafeteria, to the comfort to the student housing complex, and the inspiring academic block, every corner of AITI reflects their dedication. They are the silent heroes working diligently behind the scenes to make each and every training event seamless and successful. Their efforts often go unnoticed, yet without them, none of this would be possible. And when I'm saying this, I'm getting goosebumps really, because we really owe a lot to them. Thank you so much. This was my last sentence. On that note, may I request all of you to join me in giving a big round of applause for AITI support team. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mo, for nicely encapsulating the journey. It's time for a panel discussion. So it's not a traditional panel discussion the way we have experienced it in every other event. It's a panel discussion with people who have pioneered change, who have played instrumental role in making that change possible. So I have the pleasure to invite on the stage to join me for the panel discussion Mr. Gaurav Singh Sogarwal, Municipal Commissioner, Municipal Corporation, Gorakhpur. Mr. Ashrit Kumar Siddhi, Municipal Commissioner, Siddipet Municipality, Telangana. Mr. Jigme Wangchuk Bhutia, State Mission Director, SBM Urban, Sikkim. Madam B. Sandhya, Joint Director, Solid Waste Management, Telangana Directorate of Municipal Administration. Mr. Abhishek Panda, Executive Officer, Paradip Municipality, Odisha. And Mr. Pankaj Bhushan, Chief Environmental Engineer, Agra Municipal Corporation. So before we start the discussion, first of all, it's a pleasure to have all of you here. It is not us who are doing things, it is you who are making things possible. We may be playing a small role in this entire journey. Let me just quickly share the housekeeping rules. We'll spend about an hour for this discussion. I have a question for all of you based on your work. I would request each panelist to complete their intervention in about 7 to 8 minutes. And if I have time, I'll come back for a quick closing remarks from all of you. So let me start with Gaurav ji, Municipal Commissioner, Gorakhpur. Your city has done commendable work under SBM2, like creating business model of 8 different types of waste streams, setting up a regional waste management facility, and trust me, this is something very unique. In Suthani, which is also shared with 8 nearby ULBs, you have a plan for setting up a 300 TPT bio-CNG plant. So what are your thoughts on how your city can further excel with more knowledge, skill and exposure from SBM 2.0?
Thank you and good afternoon to all of you. The initiative you talked about, so I briefly a quick detailed discussion about what we are doing. Generally, as in a corporation, we deal with the municipal solid waste day in and day out. So from collection to the transportation to the last processing, it's a waste cycle. So segregation at source is a primarily key. But what we see in the Gorakhpur city is a gateway of the Purvanchal, and it is a Honorable CM's home constituency. So it developed a role model not only in terms of development per se, infrastructure development per se, as well as the medical tourism is concerned. So generally corporation deals with the municipal solid waste, and the largely city generates, apart from the municipal solid waste, if we discuss about, so there is a biomedical waste. There are a lot of, we have a AIMS, we have a BRD Medical College, we have a more than 250 plus medical facilities like nursing homes and all. So large quantity of the medical waste is generated by them. But as a corporation, we do not have much more access and much more accountability to them. And what we witness, they are vendors just generally they take their medical waste and they dump site at our anywhere around the city. So there is a one aspect. Another aspect, there are a lot of central organizations are concerned. The Gorakhpur is a general, it's a zonal office of the Northeastern Railway. So it's a large establishment of the railway as well. So we do not see the expertise of the railway, and they are bulk waste generators who generates more than 50 ton per day. And their processing facility as far as SBM2 is concerned. Every bulk waste generator, they have to establish their own processing facility. So not only the railway, but as well as the GRD battalions, the Air Force, they do not have the processing facility, and their waste is not only the municipal solid waste. Apart from the municipal solid waste, they are a large generator of the CND waste, electronic waste, etc., etc. So we are committed to develop a holistic model in which we do not cater only the municipal solid waste, but as well as we have to cater those waste which are not deal directly through the corporation. They deal indirectly through the corporation. Let's say if we are talk about e-waste, if we talk about the biomedical waste, or CPCB, SPCB play a larger role to cater those waste. But again, we do not have any accounts, we do not have any knowledge about their vendors, their working as well. So we come up a garbage processing city cum learning center plan. Is a 40-acre land where we are going to develop every type of processing facility over there. So first, the waste to charcoal plant, there's a torrefication technology generally for the municipal solid waste. So we are coming up the 500 ton per day waste to charcoal plant. This is done by the NTPC Vidyut Vyapar Nigam Limited. This is a 500 TPD. 200 TPD for the organic waste or the wet waste, we are doing the bio-CNG plant. Third, the domestic hazardous plant, the 5 ton TPD, the domestic hazardous plant. On that particular land parcel, we are doing the biomedical processing facility, e-waste processing facility, CND waste processing facility. So we are simultaneously working on the 8 different types of waste stream in which we can develop a holistic processing facility for throughout the waste which is generated by the city, by the domestic as well as the institutions, as well as different types of the users. So this is the Sutni, and the Administrative Staff College of India, Hyderabad, is doing the technical support for us. Ministry of Environment and Forest Climate Change, Government of India has assisted for the setting up this city. And in this city, this particular processing facility, the garbage city, not only serve the municipal corporation, the responsibility of the municipal solid waste, but the nearby ULBs. We have more than 8 ULBs nearby, small ULBs. They do not have the capacity to scientifically processing per se. So we have a MOU with the small ULBs, and directly will take their municipal solid waste as different types of waste, and in particular this. And this is now the first plant of this city is come up with the April of this coming year, April 25. The ongoing work is going on. So this is the part of the SBM 2.0. What we see, this is the scientific disposal, scientific processing for the municipal solid waste. But now Gorakhpur Corporation is dealing not only municipal solid waste, with different types of waste. As far as SBM 2.0 is concerned, liquid waste is also a very important role, and we see there's a lot of untreated water goes to the directly the water bodies and the river. Fortunately, the Gorakhpur is a witness of the 2-3 more rivers. There's the Rapti, Rohin, as well as, and the Gorakhpur city is situated on the banks of the Rapti river. So STP, the sewage treatment facility, the primary facility, the fecal sludge treatment plant we have. On the contrary, we need to develop a more sustainable and more natural treatment of grey water. How can we treat our grey water with natural aquatic systems in place? What we see, some we can see the Sicheval model, we can see the water stabilization, pond stabilization model. So we brought 2-3 experts in that particular field, Professor Siya Babu and Professor R. Raman. We brought them in the Gorakhpur, and we asked them to develop a model in which we can treat the grey water naturally. So we are working on that particular 9 drains which are going to the Rapti river. We do not have the STP for the per se. So the natural ecosystem throughout the length of the drain we develop, and now the result is quite amazing. The biological oxygen demand is drastically reduced from 122 to 25 or 30. And right now we are working on that. So that again is the learning of the liquid waste management is very, very important aspect. And if I talk about the stagnation water, let's say the pond and any sort of lake within the vicinity of the habitation. So we do not have any particular technology to treat that particular water. So now we brought the nanobubble technology in which we treated our Moti Pokhara is a quite amazing lake, vicinity of the 40,000 local population. So that's again is a very good technology. This is again a technology intervention done by the private player as well. That is a core salient features of this SBM 2.0, where we bring the technical expertise from the private player. So as far as SBM 2.0 is concerned, we are talking about the community-led sanitation as well as the community and public toilets. So the access to the toilets, to the slums, to the unprivileged section of the society is again challenge. And because we face the crunch of the land and we face the crunch of the accessibility as well. So we are going to address this, and I hope we are lot of discussion, lot of skill manpower is concerned, lot of skill development is going on, but again it's a challenge to us as well to develop particularly to serve those unprivileged area, those section of the society, the accessible and the universal toilet and as well as the liquid wastewater is concerned. So we'll bring it up forward and we are working on that particular person. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's really a unique initiative that there's a regional facility which takes care of the waste, and I completely agree with you that biomedical waste, electronic waste are not essentially delegated to the urban local bodies for management. It's a different institutional arrangement that are in place, and you're also taking serious care of the liquid waste management, which is often goes out of our visibility. So good work. I'll come back to you if I have more time. I'll invite the next panelist, Mr. Ashrit Kumar Siddhi from Siddipet Municipality. You have played an instrumental role in promoting source segregation and home composting by engaging with the citizens in Siddipet. You have also made institutional arrangements to integrate the local SHGs and waste pickers apart from improving the value chain. Please tell us about the journey and what is the way forward. What would be your expectation for technical and capacity building support from SBM 2.0?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great opportunity that we share our experiences over here. And in Siddipet, it is a challenging task for us to implement solid waste management in a proper way, proper shape, to bring it up to the end task. So here we have a training institute, that is Swachh Bharat, where we train about, we have trained about 42,000 citizens across the town. And we have also trained students also in schools, various schools. We bring them to our Swachh Bharat and we train them about solid waste management, how segregation goes at source level, how to do, how to process it, and how to go about composting and dry waste also, how to process dry waste. Here in Siddipet, we develop such a situation that we have about 24,000 SHGs in our town. SHG level segregation is also done by training them out in and out. Source level segregation is being done in their houses, and home composting is also promoted. We have about 3,500 home composting units. And one more thing is we have trained other cities, other towns in our municipality. About 44 commissioners have come to us for getting the training in our Swachh Bharat, and along with their team they have come in the month of October. We had sessions about 4 days. For about 4 days we have trained, and capacity building is also being trained relating to solid waste management as well. And 3,500 households, we took them to all the wards in our town. We took the commissioners to selective wards of our town, and we trained them at house level segregation. We have introduced such a system that technically how to go about source segregation as well as how to make it an end product. We have a CNG unit in our town. CNG also has been trained to them. We have a effluent treatment plant in our slaughterhouse. Effluent, how it has to be treated and how to generate electricity out of effluent treatment plant. We have trained 1000 plus ULB officials during this process. Source level segregation is most important in maintaining solid waste and managing it in a proper shape. And one more thing is we are educating people on their behavior change. How to change themselves, how to change the town. Behavior change is the most primary aspect to get a change in the environment as well as in protecting our environment as well as our town in maintaining and managing solid waste. First is the behavior change. If people changes themselves, naturally source level segregation will be done and it impacts our environment to bring about a change in the solid waste management. We are training schools. We are training in schools so that the next generation, at least our future generation, will not get hampered with their management of solid waste. Managing solid waste is a Herculean task earlier. After this Swachh Bharat Mission introduced in the year 2014, it has become very easy for all the ULBs across the country to manage it in a proper shape because of their experiences sharing the experiences by ULBs at various levels of media as well as electronic and social media. By reading all the books and all the information that is available in our social media, people are changing themselves and behavior change is not a Herculean task as it is told earlier. This is not a new thing that we are introducing managing solid waste. It was our dadis and dadas and our nanis. They used to teach us earlier how to segregate it and how to use it. This is not a new task which is being introduced in our by Swachh Bharat Mission. It is only bringing about a change by telling about our culture and tradition that is there in our country. We used to make it very unique. It is not a unique thing that we develop ourselves and we manage the solid waste. Solid waste is nothing but it is segregating things which we used to do earlier in our childhood. Our dadis, my grandmother, she used to teach a lot how to manage the solid waste and how to segregate it at our source level. It is now that we are doing it, the thing is we need to inculcate a very good habit. We are inculcating the habit of segregation at source level to our next generation. This is what we are doing in Siddipet. It has been introduced drastically and we are maintaining public-private partnership in our town. CNG plant is established. We have established a TRCC where dry waste is managed by NGOs. We have introduced NGOs and we are doing it in a very proper shape. Thank you for this opportunity, and this is my experience out of Siddipet municipality.
It's incredible work, I have to say, because the only way to achieve circular economy is to incentivize segregation, and like the keynote speakers have also stressed upon, especially Dr. Balakrishna Pishupati, that there is no way we can manage our waste if it is not inclusive. We have tried our luck by using advanced technology, artificial intelligence and those things, but it had very, very limited result. And it is also important to disincentivize the practice of dumping. We developed more than 3,000 dump sites according to CPCB reports. Now those dump sites are being cleaned. So if you think deeper, we are basically spending twice on the same waste. First time we spent when the waste were collected and dumped, and now we are cleaning the dump site by hiring maybe another contractor and spending for the same waste once more. So thank you for this incredible experience, and I'm sure that we'll have a lot more to learn from you. Let me now bring in Mr. Jigme Wangchuk Bhutia, the State Mission Director from Sikkim. A lot of policy reforms on ground actions have taken following the launch of SBM2. In fact, if I go down memory lane, Sikkim probably was the first state to introduce ban of plastic carry bags even before the Solid Waste Management Rule 2016 was notified, or we had the first Solid Waste Management Rule in the year 2000, which was only limited to urban local bodies, but the scope of 2016 rule is pan-India across regardless of the establishment. So it's a small state with only 7 ULBs, and you have done commendable work to improve plastic waste management and also imposing ban on plastic bottles. You have actually banned bottles under a certain capacity. You have banned carry bags. Sikkim is a very high altitude state which comes with its own set of challenges. So managing waste in high altitude area is very different from managing waste on the plain. So please share your thoughts and what is your plan going forward? How do you foster the progress in Sikkim going forward?
Firstly, thank you to CSC for appreciating and recognizing our efforts. As you said, being a mountain state, we have perforce no choice but to be environmentally conscious, and our efforts are more to do with survival strategy more than anything else. As you rightly said, Sikkim was the first state to ban plastic carry bags. This was done as early as in 1993.
Yes.
So that year, what happened was we had several landslides, especially in urban areas. Gangtok area, we lost several lives, several properties were damaged, and on investigation it was found that the primary reason for these landslides was the clogged joras and drains, which were caused by the plastic carry bags. So the then government had to take the difficult decision of banning plastic bags, carry bags, and this had continued till I think 2021 when the new plastic rules were implemented, and then they allowed for certain microns of plastics to be made available. So this has been our grouse, because now plastic bags are available in Sikkim and they claim to be of certain microns, and then now because of which our previous ban had to be lifted. Also, we've banned packaged drinking water up to 2 liters in Sikkim, for which we are facing litigation in the High Court. So this you may say, ki, why ban? Why ban? There are other ways to regulate. But here I would like to highlight the difficulty in mountain areas, especially to retrieve and disposal of waste. So this is like you said, it is not like in other plain states. We conduct in collaboration with the NGOs. There is this Himalayan cleanup which happens every year, and as a part of the cleanup, we do the auditing also, waste auditing. And in our waste audits, we always find almost 70% of the waste that we collect is multi-layered food packaging, which cannot be recycled. And these multi-layered plastics have reached the furthest corners of our state, the furthest, remotest villages also, villages which are bordering China. Now for the local bodies to bring those multi-layered and send it for processing is extremely costly, right? And our municipal corporation, Gangtok, has to transport RDF to. There is no processing facility in Sikkim, and there are no cement factories in Sikkim, no co-processing factories. So the urban local body has to transport the RDF to Bihar, Rohtas in Bihar, and Muzaffarnagar in UP, which are about 600 to 800 kilometers away from the state. So all this involves high costs. Here I would like to highlight the I won't say failure, but as far as the efficacy of EPR regime in the mountain states. Here, somehow, I think the mountain states have been left out in this APR regime. Had that been implemented effectively, had it been sensitive to the mountain concerns in the mountain areas, I think that would have helped our ULBs. But sadly, so far, that has not been there. So our ULBs are incurring high cost in transporting these RDF material. Secondly, so these are all the problems that we've been facing. As far as solid waste management is concerned, apart from the normal things that we do, one of the things that we've done, I think, which was started 3-4 years back, is the Cleanest ULB Award. So it's a small initiative. It is, we call it the local Swachh Sarvekshan, but it is incentive based. So our urban local bodies are usually cash strapped. So we give them the winner gets 10 lakhs, the second prize winner gets 7, and then the third prize winner gets 5 lakhs. So we model this, our Cleanest ULB Award, as we aligned it with the Swachh Sarvekshan. So it is, we change the parameters every year based on the Swachh Sarvekshan toolkits, and this has helped our ULBs focus on the solid waste management, and overall the result can be seen in the state's performance also. And as I conclude my speech, I would hope that CSC, being the think tank, would like to will come up with solutions for the mountain states also, especially with the thing on EPR regime being effectively implemented in the mountain states. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I completely agree. It's a very different ecosystem and very different challenge. I was recently invited to participate in a workshop called Parvat Manthan, conducted by the National Institute of Urban Affairs, NIUA, under the ministry. And that workshop had all the Indian Himalaya region states. And it was discussed that the visibility of waste in the mountains is probably lesser than what it is on the ground, because we have a lot of place to hide our waste. But the problem is way bigger, way greater, because the cost of waste management, if I just break it down to collection, transportation and treatment, the cost of transportation in any mountainous state is probably double as much as what it is on the plain. And like sir mentioned, that if you imagine you have to send each truck full of plastic to about 600 kilometers away to get to the nearest waste co-processing plant or nearest cement plant to get it processed, which cannot be sustainable under any circumstance. So we definitely need different approach, a different strategy, and definitely need different policies, because you can enforce things when there is a law. So thank you for your insights. Let me now come to you, Madam Sandhya. Being the Joint Director in the Telangana Directorate of Municipal Administration, probably we have the largest contingent coming from Telangana according to our initial research. So it is clear that Telangana is moving towards absolutely a circular economy approach, like already mentioned by Siddhi sir about his work in Siddipet municipality. So what basically influenced this change, influenced this approach, and tell us about, as a state authority, what is your vision to make this journey further towards circular economy, and what more do you expect from SBM in terms of capacity building or technical support?
Thank you. Good afternoon, one and all. I'm very delighted to be part of this program today. I've just come thinking that it would be I've been part of various other programs, so I've come on a very casual note, frankly speaking, if I have to speak my heart. But after having heard the speakers, especially Rupa ma'am, the way, how eloquent she was. She is eloquent as always, whether it is in a TC, VC or That is maybe because it speaks her commitment. She is the face, if I have to ask the officers over here or on the dais, we all know two faces which are very familiar with Swachh Bharat Mission. One is the Honorable Prime Minister, who is, whom the common man knows. But the official fraternity, whom do we know? Who is the face of Swachh Bharat Mission? It is obviously Rupa ma'am. So there are two speakers. Of course, the other speakers were speaking about their contributions and all. I was pumped up with a couple of speakers. One is Rupa ma'am, of course, and because we connect to her very much, because we see her very frequently. We always, you know, she is the torch bearer for us.
Absolutely.
But after having heard Sunitha Narayan ma'am as well, I mean, at this age, the way she was speaking, the energetic way, and the content that she was speaking, there are two things that really caught my eye, and not in my backyard. See, we all listen to this statement, who all have come from the ULB, whatever. See, let me put it this way. See, we are all committed to change. We are all committed to, we all want a country to be neat, clean, hygienic. We all want to do justice to our job. Of course, everybody. Maybe the grade will change. Some are like more than 100% committed. Some are like, you know, they are driven by the bosses. Some are like, you know, okay, lethargic. Some are like not. But the biggest hurdle is that, you know, we need cooperation. So which is what she was talking about, not in my backyard. The immediate response that we get is not in my backyard. So which we experience. So that's one thing. And conflict of interest, that is very, very important, because see, as a family, say we all must be mothers, fathers. We have a family, we have kids. I have two notorious boys at home. I want to implement something at home. Say suppose I want them to, you know, sleep by 9 o'clock. Is it going to be an easy job? I don't think so. It's not easy for me. I am being very, very, I'm telling you in a very low tone, but at times I'm really mad at them, because it is not easy to implement something. That is what conflict of India is, a country where we have, diversified interests. All the speakers were referring to that, you know. Wangchuck Bhutia ji was referring to his difficulties, though he was like, you know, happy for all the warm introduction he got, but he was, you know, at the same time pouring out his difficulties, because that is that part of India. Where I come from, South India, I'm a little in a comfortable seat. Whereas if we go to a place like Leh, Ladakh, or in the western part, we have, you know, the country and the interests also keep changing. But Rupa ma'am was, I'm sorry, I'm deviating from the question, but I know where am I heading to. So if you have heard Rupa ma'am say, she has taken us in a very short time. Maybe she spoke for 10-15 minutes, but she has taken us. She has taken us through the entire journey. She was talking about all these things, all the difficulties, the journey, the highs and lows. But still, we have traveled for 10 long years. Our journey has been smooth, successful, definitely successful, I would say. That is what our Telangana is. We are one example of the success of the mission. As you asked me, like, how is this possible? Even ma'am was kidding. She was looking at my table and asked if we have done some sort of a match fixing, because when I look at that, that book which was released today, Change is Possible, I can see that from Telangana we have 20 ULBs which are part of this Changemakers, which are doing some change on the field. See, sitting in the head office, one unfortunate thing is that I have joined the office of Commissioner and Director Municipal Administration very late. I mean, only in the recent times. So I wouldn't take the credit of pioneering or being the torchbearer. But I'm very, very happy to be joining such a team. And now coming to the real answer of your question. How is it possible for Telangana to do so? To be successful and successful to that level of so many, it was a little embarrassing in the morning when we were having a photograph with a big team. I said, why did so many people come? But actually, we wanted to give the team which is actually responsible for all this change. Of course, the ULB's commissioner will be the face. I am the face of my DMA. The ULB commissioner is the face of their ULB. But there is a team which is toiling, which is working very hard behind the screen. Like Sunita Narayan ma'am has mentioned, you and your team. So nice that your team has come when the book was being inaugurated. So that's the reason why we've encouraged our team to come. Sir, and for the team, for the audience which is sitting here, what I have observed in the last 12 years of my service as in municipal administration, especially in the last 10 years after the formation of Telangana, what has changed is the levels of commitment have changed. The way we take instructions from in a VC have changed. And the way we implement them on ground have changed. See, listening to something and cross-ventilating is one option we have. Listening, assimilating to any percentage, 50%, 60%. As I said in the beginning of my talk, see, we are all committed. Committed in degrees. One is 100% committed, one is more than 100% committed, one is 60% committed, one is just lethargic, just sitting. But what I observe sitting in Telangana as a neutral person, I am not talking as a representative of Telangana. Basically, someone who knows me, I generally speak my heart, and I'm a very, very, I'm a very neutral person. Very, very neutral person that, that someone who is associated with me would know. So whatever I'm speaking, whatever I'm telling on behalf of my state, Telangana, and its success is that, if we have to define in single phrase, it is the amount of commitment I have seen. The way we are, taking the instructions, the way we are assimilating, and the way we are in a three-step process. We are listening, we are assimilating, and the implementation part. I'll just close it with an example as my personal observation. 7 years back, I was working in a ULB. It's a place called Gadwal, which is very much famous for, all the ladies must have heard the Gadwal saris. It's very famous. It's a historical sort of a place. So I have worked there. It's a sort of, all ULBs are very difficult to, as a municipal commissioner, I don't know whether I can put this on this stage or not. It's very difficult to, because that has been covered in the talk. I said there's conflict of interest, and they simply say, not in my backyard. You want to start something? Not in my backyard. We start something, the elected representatives don't cooperate, the public don't cooperate, but still, and there'll be pressure from the government. So I was in this place. So it was like, sort of a very, what would I say, sort of a peri-urban sort of a place. Then, I'm talking about 16, 17. And recently in 23rd August, I had to go back there, which is a classic. I had to go back there because I had a case, a court case, where I had to go as, what is this? I'm not getting the term. Witness, exactly. Sorry, thank you. Maybe the stress of being on the stage. So witness, and you won't believe the phenomenal paradigm shift in the way this town looked. Now I will not call it peri-urban. I would call it. I was internally wish I come back again. There was such sort of a striking difference in the way the city looked. Not only in terms of infrastructure. Infrastructure, as a municipal commissioner, I wouldn't talk about infrastructure. I would talk about cleanliness, hygiene, the look of the town. You won't believe. I stopped at the court. Then I've been to few places where I stayed, and there is this beautiful Krishna river in the town. So I went there. Then finally, tea is my favorite energy drink. So I hopped at tea time, where I had tea, and I was looking, internally that municipal commissioner is working. I am looking at the surroundings. I am observing the surroundings. You know what? But I didn't speak out. My driver who was accompanying me asked me in Telugu, Madam, why can't we see a paper? Even a paper, or so-called in the cities we call garbage vulnerable points, or cleanliness target units, the fancy names that we give for garbage dumps on the roads. There was none. This sort of a transformation is what is seen in entire Telangana. And if you ask me this question to be answered in 6-7 minutes, I think I've taken 10 minutes. In this 10 minutes, I would phrase it with, those 3 layers, 3 steps. The way we take, we're very serious about listening. We have all the attention. The way we assimilate, we digest 100%. And the implementation, yes, more than 100%. It's a commitment which is showing the results. Thank you so much for being patient, patiently listening to me. Thank you, CSC, for making me part of this wonderful program. We are, of course, here to celebrate Swachh Bharat Mission. We are here to celebrate change. We are here to celebrate changemakers, because I'm the one who believes in Gandhiji's vision of be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, truly inspiring, and definitely the leadership matters. So there is definitely strong leadership towards the right direction. So thank you for your insights. Let me now bring in Abhishek ji. And let me also start with the note, Abhishek ji, that we did a joint study with Niti Aayog back in 2021 to develop a compendium of good practices, and we could identify 28 cities from 15 states, and Paradip was identified as one of the city. And the story was so inspiring that later on I requested Sunita ji to send our colleagues from the Down to Earth multimedia team to create a video on the story of Paradip. Of course, I'll leave you to tell your own story. But the question is, first of all, your entire state of Odisha, 114 ULBs are decentralized. You do not have a single centralized system across the state. You have integrated the self-help groups. You have integrated the third gender. And colleagues, when I saw the video for the first time, I couldn't stop my tears. Because third gender, regardless of how we look at them, we don't even offer them job in our houses as domestic helps. So that is the state of life that they live. But here is a city who has given them a life of dignity. And you must go back and watch the video in YouTube. And of all the cities that are featuring in the video, Paradip by far has the highest viewership. And Abhishek sir, I would request you to go back and check the comments in the YouTube video. So let me just come back to the question. Your integration with the informal sector like third gender, the self-help groups, you have replaced the traditional motorized vehicles with the battery operated ones, and your system is financially way more stable than the cities that basically I had the fortune of learning. So tell us your story, like how did you make this transformation possible, and what are your visions going forward in SBM2?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Abhishek Panda, Executive Officer of Paradip Municipality. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to CSC for organizing such an event, and a big congratulations to all the change makers who are sitting in front of me and on the dais. The thing that unites us all is our passion towards doing this incredible task of managing a city. As all of you might be aware, the daily problems we face has been rightly outlined by Sandhya ma'am. The political interferences, the waste management, the big challenges of managing the people, and the pressure from the government to accelerate the projects that are being taken up in our municipality. But it's the passion of our team and in the people who are sitting in front of me and the entire ecosystem. It's that it drives the state forward. So to understand a problem, we have to first analyze the pulse of the city. So our city is a port city. As you might all be aware, Paradip is an international port, and Paradip Port Authority is the largest port in the eastern seaboard, and currently handles about 150 million tons of cargo. So it basically is a cargo handling port, and the most cargo that is handled is iron ore and coal. So that's an issue because the coal and the iron ore is being transported to our city by road, and the port city, being a port city, we have all the gates which are across the city. So all the transportation trucks they are passing throughout the city, and being a port area, we have also various ancillary industries like Indian Oil Corporation, ArcelorMittal, JSW, Coast Guard, all these industries and these setups are also there. So, and you might also be aware that Paradip has the largest number of slums, because where there is industry, there is a workforce, and people tend to stay in slums also. And being a fishing, traditionally it has been a fishing harbor, so there is a very prominent fishing industry also that is going on in Paradip. So we have to understand the demographics of the people, and the best people who can understand the demographics and the pulse of the city are the women folk who are doing their work in SAGs. The SAGs, the women self-help groups, earlier what they used to do is they used to collect money among themselves, and they used to loan it out, and based on that they used to work and earn some livelihood. But as per our government mandate, which was taken up in 2017-18 onwards, and I would like to extend a big thanks to our ex-Principal Secretary G. Mathivathanan sir. It was his vision that who could and to our current Principal Secretary ma'am, Usha Padhi ma'am, it was their vision which inspired us to take up the SAG model of sanitation, and as Atin sir rightly said, in Odisha we follow the decentralized model of sanitation, whereas all the waste that is being collected from our city is managed within the city itself. We are not transporting it to anywhere else. We don't have any dump sites in our city. We have already closed our dump site, and we have also filed an affidavit before the NGT that our dump site is closed. To achieve this sort of thing, what we have done, we have we have 19 wards in our city, and almost all the wards have some slums. There are some townships. There are some posh areas where the industrialists and the contractors and the other rich people, they stay. So to collect the waste, we employ battery operated vehicles which are driven and which are operated and managed by women. So the waste which generally comes from the household, it's given by women, and the collection which is done, it's done by women. So the best way, we thought that the people who go to the house, as per the SOP of 2016 solid waste management rules, a battery operated vehicle can cover around 600 households, and by making multiple trips. So we have divided lanes, and we have mapped all the lanes and by-lanes of the city, and we have ascertained, we have also engaged Swachh Sathis and supervisors. Most of the cities might be doing it as Swachhata Didi and all these terms we use, but what they do, they go from morning 6:30 onwards, they travel from their designated route, and they use this jingle, that song that is being played, Safai wala aaya, kachra nikal. So that's all in our local language. Almost all of the cities might be using this. This is a very traditional and good practice also, and it gives a message to the people, the residents of the colony or the slums, that the vehicle for the collection has come and they have to give it. They have to give it the waste. That is generally what people do. Generally, they used to throw it in the drains. They used to litter it near the dustbins. People don't even, they generally don't used to put the garbage in the dustbins. They used to litter it just near the dustbin. And cows and other street animals, they used to come and eat it. So our policy was to completely stop this, and by making a behavioral change, by inculcating a behavioral change within the people, our Swachhata Didis and Swachhasatis and supervisors, they went from house to house and they started enforcing this on the people, that you have to give us segregated waste, otherwise your waste won't be collected. If a person comes from the household and gives us mixed garbage, we try to enforce them, and you on the spot, from the first 3-4 times, our Didi who goes there, our our employee who goes there, she will demonstrate it in the front that this is how segregation is done, how to separate your wet waste, how to separate your dry waste, the sanitary napkins and the e-waste which is being collected, that should be also separated. And by achieving this segregation at source, we are able to transport our waste separately to our material recovery facilities and micro-composting centers. We have, as per our mandate from the government, we have installed 3 micro-composting centers in our city, which are functional currently, of 5-ton capacity each, and 3 material recovery facility, which are also 5-ton capacity each per day. And we are also in the process of constructing 1 more additional MCC and MRF to cater to our future needs, because our city is growing rapidly as per industrialization and things are concerned. So another thing Atin sir asked about me, that how come our model is financially successful or it's financially viable. The thing is that in our 2016 solid waste management rules, we have a user fee collection. Almost all the cities might be implementing this, but generally this user fee collection is not collected properly. What we did, that the Swachhasatis and the supervisors and the BOV operators who go from house to house every day, we have given them the charge to collect the user fee. Generally it's very less, it's around 300 rupees per household, which is less than 1 rupee per day. For managing the entire waste of your household, it is less than 1 rupee per day. And what happened when a tax collector of the municipality goes to the household, they generally are very apprehensive about giving that money. Nobody wants to pay. It's our basic inherent nature. But when they see that the person who comes to collect our waste daily, and they have that sort of likeliness and the sort of emotional connect with them, with the ladies who are, with the women folk who are going to the house daily, they are visiting, they right away they pay it, and our collection is also very good. We are able to collect around 80 to 90% of our target. As per our household, we are having 20,000 households, and we are able to collect the amount pretty much by the end of financial year. And this sort of approach has made this model a successful one and economically viable one. And we are also able to sell our this recyclable dry waste, and the compost that is generated, our government has branded it as Mokhata, that is around 10 rupees per kg, and we are able to sell it to government organizations like agriculture department, horticulture department, and soil conservation department. And in the plantation seasons and the month of during rainy season, we are able to sell it to the other government departments, and we are also able to earn some revenue out of it. So by doing this sort of thing, and a big help has come from the Paradip Port Authority also. They are also managing their grey water and fecal sludge treatment plants. Actually, all the models, all the things that we are doing in the sanitation spectrum, it is all woman based and transgender based, because transgender was transgender community which was very much active in Paradip, because there are a lot of transportation activities, and you might be aware earlier there was a lot of legacy problems associated with transgender, but what our government decided to say and our municipal administration decided to inculcate was that transgender have the right to a dignity and they have a right to work. So the best thing was to motivate them and to enable them to join us in our sanitation journey. So we have given them two like micro composting centers to run, where they have their own team, and we give them a salary, a dignity, and they're also maintaining that plant very well. So this has been our journey so far. And as per SBM 2.0 is concerned, it's a very well-defined policy, and as Rupa ma'am was saying, that it's a very good policy, and policies always change, and we have some need from SBM 2.0 and SBM 3.0 when it's coming, that these structures like these Swachh Saathi supervisors, the women SHGs who have been involved, they can be also made incorporated in the SBM 2.0. And as per Paradip is concerned, we have also an issue of marine littering. Just a few days before, we had a discussion with Royal Haskonig Authority and Paradip Port Authority and Maersk Sealand Seaways, that we have to, because we have to preserve our coastline, and everybody might be aware, like from Kendrapada to Jagat Singhpur to Ganjam, it's a olive ridley breeding ground, and every year during this time, olive ridley turtles come to Odisha for breeding, and if marine littering is more, it takes a lot of toll on their breeding capacity and the general ecosystem of the oceans. So I would also request CSC, if it's possible, to focus more on marine littering for the coastal cities, and come up with more training sessions on this regard. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Fascinating story, to say the least. Just a couple of quick observations. Like, we have the mission director from Sikkim, and there are many other colleagues from the Indian Himalayan regions. If a state can go decentralized with more than 100 ULBs, so there must be some reasons, right? And it is time for us to look into whether these are better models or these are better approaches. And I'm saying this with absolute conviction, because in the hilly terrain or high altitude areas, decentralized management, at least for the wet waste, if not for the dry waste, could be a much better solution. I'm not being prescriptive here. Let me just quickly tell you the story of the city of Pune. Pune is the second largest city in the state of Maharashtra with more than 4 million population. Pune has a cooperative of waste picker called Swachh with more than 4,500 waste pickers. They collect waste from about 900,000 properties every day, and they didn't even miss out a day even during COVID. Few people lost their life, they got infected. The municipal corporation doesn't pay them a single penny as salary, but the municipal corporation has modified their bylaw so that the user charges can be collected by the waste pickers. So our waste pickers caters to about 250 to 300 properties. Let's say if one property pays 80 rupees to 100 rupees a month, then you can easily do the math, like how much they are making. And it is for their own survival, they get the waste segregated. And they have been doing it for almost 15 years now. So what I'm trying to share with all of you is just a thought. We do need industries, we do need private sector's involvement in getting our waste treated and processed. But we can definitely explore if for door-to-door collection, or the primary collection is what we call, is from the doorstep to the transfer station, can be done more by the self-help groups or urban poors or transgenders or informal waste pickers. Just for a thought. Let me just come to the last panelist for the day, Pankaj Bhushan, the Chief Environmental Engineer. Let me also tell you, in this India-Norway bilateral initiative, there are 2 aspirational cities selected by the 2 governments, and one of the cities is Agra. So apart from Agra, it is known for 2 more reasons. One is Petha. I hope you all are aware of it. They make wonderful petha, but in the process of making petha, a lot of waste is produced. Petha is nothing but, it's a processed food, it's a sweet that is made of ash wood. And Agra is also the single largest city for manufacturing footwear. The city produces 1.5 million pair of footwear every single day. Okay? And it exports to whichever brands you may have seen in airports, in big malls, or if you have traveled internationally. Every big brand has Agra as one of their export partners. Okay, so when we started working with Agra, we signed a MOU. We are a civil society, there's no business involved in it. It was just a technical collaboration. So we were tasked to deliver this to, I would say, kind of a solution. So we researched, we spent a lot of time on the ground, and we delivered those reports. And Agra also started a pilot in the areas around the Taj Ganj, or the iconic Taj Mahal, which made Agra an international tourist destination. So they did the pilot in about 6 municipal wards, if I'm not wrong, Pankaj sir. And then now they are in the process of replication. So I just gave the quick context so that it is easier for Pankaj sir to answer my question. So Pankaj sir, PETA and footwear waste has been two traditional challenges. PETA, I understand that you have been able to address to a large extent. So now the PETA waste, which is the slices of the ash good, is now being collected and delivered at the cattle farms, because it's a wonderful cattle feed. We also consulted the agricultural scientist. But footwear continues to be a challenge, because a lot of footwear also goes into the drains and which eventually ends into Yamuna. So Pankaj sir, so tell us your vision and tell us the future plan of Agra under SBM 2.0.
Thank you, Atinji. Agra, as you all know, Agra is a million plus city, having populations around 2 million plus, and a floating population of 2 lakhs per day. There are two industries, majorly, PETA industry and the leather industry. And to manage the waste of the PETA industry and the leather industry is very difficult. CSC helped us for doing a study about the PETA and in this leather industry. There are more than 140 industries in the Agra who manufacture this PETA, and about 7.5 tons of waste daily they produce. After the study, we make a plan to collect this PETA waste from at the door level. We have dedicated vehicles in all the zones. We have 4 zones there and 100 wards, and about 10% of the wards these industries are located. So we have dedicated vehicles. We collect this waste, this PETA waste at the door level, and 60% of the waste we cater to the goshalas. It's a good food for the animals, and the rest 40% is taken away by the local residents. They also feed this waste to their animals. But now we are going to use this waste in paper making. It's a very good source to make it to use as a paper, and it will cater our need, our own need, municipal corporation need, and as well as other government offices needs. So we are planning, and we are steps further in this way. Now another waste is the leather waste. There are more than 6,000 small and large units in Agra which produce the shoes, or we are engaged in the shoes making process. Actually, the waste they produce is not the leather. 70% of the waste comprises of this resin, glue, and some types of cloth. Only 30% is the leather. So there is a big challenge. They throw it in the Yamuna river or in open dump sites. We choked the nalas and all the drains, as Agra is located on the river of the Yamuna, and it's under the TTZ, Taj Tourism Zone, and GT has an eye on Agra. So we manage this way. We are also collecting this waste at the door level through our dedicated vehicles, and first of all we measure its calorific value. It's a very good source of fuel, this leather. But the cost of transportation to the nearby waste to energy plant or cement plant is very high. So we decided to make some useful items from this waste. We have already made some carpets using these leather cuttings. by mixing threads and some fresh leather. And it's a circular economy. It's another circular economy, and we are getting some offers from other parts of the corner, parts of the city. Another, we are going to establish a waste to energy plant there, 15 megawatt. It's under process in Agra, and this leather waste will be used as a fuel for that waste to energy plant in future. It's under process and it will be completed by the end of 2025. And initially it's 15 megawatt, and after its setup, it will be the total capacity will be increased to 25 megawatt. This PETA waste, some of the part of the PETA waste will be also be used in that waste to energy plant, and we will convert it into bio-CNG. Moreover, as far as the other waste is concerned, Agra is the only city who bio-mined more than 20 lakhs of the legacy waste and reclaimed 42 acres of the land successfully. As Municipal Commissioner Sir Gorakhpur told, we also have a dedicated site for all types of the waste processing facility in Agra. We have CND waste management plant, CND waste processing plant of 5-ton capacity, 150-ton capacity is under process. Waste to energy plant is there, cow dung to compost plant is there, 5 MRFs are there. We have plastic waste processing plant at our site, biomedical waste hazardous plant site, domestic hazardous waste plant on the site. We have all the processing plant at one site in Agra. It's the only, I think it's the only city in India right now. We also have MRF plants running on solar-based system.
Wow.
We took the initiative to, we have a 40 kilowatt solar plant to run this MRF center there. As far as liquid waste management part is there, we have 9 FTPs in Agra. The capacity is around 220 MLD. The wastewater is being used for farming. We have 1 lakh liter per day capacity underground water tank, and this water is being used for sprinkling and washing the roads. And more importantly, through our initiatives, Agra is the only city who won the Swachh Vayu Sarvekshan Award for the second year consecutively. Last year we were on the second position, this year we are on the third position in million plus cities category. So through the initiatives of the CSC, Agra is doing its best, and we are going on a zero waste city way. I request CSC to provide trainings. As you all know, we did a trainings, officials took a trainings at the Nimli or here in Delhi, but the training of capacity building training of our Swachh worker, we are lagging behind in that case. So I request CSC to make some programs for the capacity building of our sanitary workers and sanitary supervisors also, so that they can get the knowledge of all these new inventions or anything else, and it will be helpful for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj sir. Definitely training and capacity building is what we do for living as well, and that is what that entire institution has been designed to do. So it is an institution, I mean those of you who didn't have the chance to visit, do come, because it is an institution where we walk the talk. So we have all the facilities like decentralized wastewater facilities, the soil biotechnology for treatment of black water or water contaminated with fecal matter. We have biogas plant, we have compost plant. a lot of other things. So your point is well noted, and what I was fascinated by is the diversity of this panel and what they basically brought on the table to help us learn a lot more from the work that they were doing. Can we have a big round of applause for all the panelists, please? So thank you so much, all the panelists, for this fascinating conversation. I have a very small request to all of you before we proceed for lunch. We are behind. We are almost 25 minutes behind schedule, and I know for a fact that many of you have flights in the evening, so we cannot afford to be late. I'll just request you to shorten your lunch by about 10 to 15 minutes and come back to this room exactly by 2:30 so that we can do the rest, follow the rest of the proceedings. So see you at 2:30. The lunch is this side, not this side. So please go and enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Regarding the post
Thank you.